Hello, we've seen recently that small changes can make a huge difference to your bottom line. So just to summarize, if you could increase your number of customers by 10% by reducing customer attrition, so without keeping in regular contact with them so you don't lose so many each year, by targeting your ideal customer more closely so they're more likely to come to you and stay with you, by having better systems in place for sales conversion and for accompanying prospects along the buyer's journey, if you can make those sort of improvements and make a 10% improvement in your overall number of customers, that's one bit. Now, the second thing is, could you get them to buy more frequently? So again, could you on average get them to buy 10% more frequently? And you could do that by regular communication with them, regular promotions, regular offers, offers targeted to individual segments of your customer or client bank. And then could you get them to spend 10% more each time they buy from you? And you could do that by having differential pricing strategies. So you're charging different prices to different customers based on what they're looking for and what they're willing to pay. You could have cross sells, you could have upsells, you could have special offers. You could deal more with your ideal type customers and less with the customers who aren't ideal. So that way, on average, the people working with you, if you like, would spend more. Now, 3 lots of 10% there would normally translate to something like 40% in terms of your revenue. Your variable costs, your costs of producing and marketing whatever it is you sell, we're not looking at those. So they're staying the same. But because you've got people spending 10% more when they buy from you, your gross margin will increase by 10%. And generally, your overheads won't have changed, but that's things like wages, salaries, rents, depreciation, etc. When you work the numbers through, what you'll normally find is that those 3 lots of 10% up there will translate to doubling your operating profit, sometimes known as your bottom line profit, although the definitions vary. So those eminently doable things up there, which involve you setting plans to do them and then setting time aside to implement those plans, if you can make those 3 lots of 10% improvements, you can often double your operating profit. The question then is, what do you do with the operating profit that you've now doubled? Well, you've got 2 options, really, I suppose. One is that you can leave that within the business and use that to help you grow your business. And obviously, that's an attractive option. Anything left within the business, obviously, you're at the vagary of creditors should anything go wrong, but that's fine. So you can use the money to help you grow your business. Or you can decide that you want to take all or some of it out of the business to reward yourself. The question then is, which method of taking the money out of the business, i.e. profit extraction, is best? And that's a really complicated question, and it depends on your taxation status, whether you earn over 100,000 and are losing allowances and various other things. But to keep it simple and just to show you how this could work and how the calculations can be done, let's just say that you haven't used any of your personal allowances and that you're considering taking 100,000's worth of extra profit out of the business to remunerate yourself in one way or another. Now, obviously, you'd probably do bits of each, but let's just keep it simple and say we're going to do all of either salary, dividend, or pension. They're all going to cost 100,000 to the company. There'll be employer national insurance to pay on the salary, but not on anything else. There'll be corporation tax to pay if you take dividend, but not on the other things. So your gross amounts, I've worked them through. The only one where your gross amount will be the same as the cost of the company, i.e. 100 grand going to you, will be the pension contribution. You've then got income tax to concern yourself with if you take salary or dividends. So I've taken those numbers off. And if you take salary, there'll be employee national insurance. So we take that number off. And the net amount you would get into your pocket would be 58 and a bit as salary, 67 and a bit as dividend, but 100,000, a whole 100,000 as pension. We then say, well, that's not the true picture, because obviously if you take pension, you'd still have to pay tax on the pension when you take the pension, when you draw it. Now, bear in mind, there's lots of flexibility as to how you draw the pension. There's lots of flexibility now as to how you leave the death benefits to your survivors, to your beneficiaries. When you do take the pension, generally you would have a quarter of it as what's called pension commencement lump sum, i.e. tax-free. So you would, if you're a higher rate taxpayer in retirement, which you may not be, but if you are, then you would pay 40% on the remaining 3/4 of it. So in today's money, you'd be paying 30,000 tax. So even if we allow for that, you'll still see that at the end of the day, under these circumstances, the pension contribution is a much more efficient way of getting money out of the business than the other two methods. Now, the other thing about the pension contribution is it keeps the money out of your estate from inheritance tax point of view, because generally pension funds are exempt from IHT, whereas these amounts would go into your estate one way or the other, and therefore form part of the IHT bill. And the other thing about the pension contribution is it's in a pension fund, which means that it's free from creditors. So if anything goes wrong, either with your company or with your personal finances, this is safe from creditors. So there are lots of arguments for looking at how you extract the extra profit from the company. Pension has a lot to commend it, but obviously so do the other methods. The real point is that when you look at a business owner's accounts, first of all, you can see what potential there is to make these improvements to see if it's possible to double their bottom line. So I can do that in an initial consultation with you, free. And secondly, you can then talk about the various ways of extracting the profit that are best for you, depending on how much you're already being paid, what your tax rate is, etc., etc. So it's a complicated area, but this is where I specialize in talking to business owners about what their best options are in terms of growing their profit, and then what their best options are in terms of how to use that profit. Now, being part of a mastermind group is really good in the sense that it enables you to discuss and bounce ideas with other experienced business owners, and it enables you and them to hold each other accountable. So if you wanted to know how that might work, have a look at businessroundtableuk.co.uk. If you wanted me to have a one-to-one with you where we look at your numbers here to see if there's any possibility to double your profit, and here to see what the best way to use it would be, then just get in touch. It can be just a short one-to-one, it can be an in-depth look, it's up to you. And I hope you found that useful. Obviously, this is a really, I suppose, complex area, but also a really important area for anyone who owns their own company. So hope you found that useful and interesting. Thanks very much for watching.